Hello beautiful people and welcome back to the channel. Make sure you give this video a like and a thumbs up, and also leave a comment if you want to see more topics like this, and let's get started with the video. In today's video, we'll be talking about Demi Lovato's new album and also the documentary that goes with it, Dancing with the Devil, The Art of Starting Over, and how it correlates with Ariana Grande's Thank You Next era. Now this album is very significant because it takes us on a journey from her overdose and goes into her new journey of sobriety. So I wanted to wait a little bit and to digest the whole album and go through the interviews and everything in order to give a full video on this album and how impactful it is, because it's very truth-telling and it actually really describes her journey very well. And also as a listener and also as a fan, it really opened my eyes to how severe her overdose was and also her journey and her mental health in order to get over it. We kind of already knew that she dabbled with mental health issues and eating disorders and also substance abuse from 2011-2012 from her Unbroken era. But I didn't know that she kind of went back and it kind of severely hurted her again, and it became even a worse situation. And she kind of talked about this in her last documentary back in 2017, but the newest documentary goes into it a little bit more deeper, and it's because she's opened up so much more, and she's allowing us to get into her head and into what her thoughts were at that time. Now she's revealing everything and putting it out all on the table. So in the 4 parts to the documentary, she also states that this album serves as a soundtrack to the documentary. So the journey of this album kind of begins with the song Anyone, and she wrote that at a very low time when she felt like no one was really caring or listening to her. And she also wrote the song Sober right before her overdose. As you all know by now, the overdose was very deadly and almost ended her life. She woke up in the hospital not knowing that she had overdosed from a drug that she didn't even think that she could, pass out from. But however, the dealer had laced it with a stronger drug that almost ended her life. He sexually took advantage of her and left her for dead. Luckily, her assistant found her just in time for her to get to the hospital. Now, one thing I did get from the documentary, and actually from Dancing with the Devil, the video also, was how bad that this actually was. I didn't know that she had 5 to 15 minutes from being dead. She had 3 strokes, a heart attack, suffered severe brain damage, and was temporarily blind. She couldn't even tell who her little sister was, and she had to learn how to see again. Hence the song I See You, which is dedicated to her little sister Madison. Now, as a normal person, you're probably asking yourself, well, how did she even get to this state? Well, it's pretty complicated. We know that Demi, she always dealt with substance abuse and also mental health issues and things like that. But she always had this under control because she had a team that guided her and had strict rules so that she wouldn't fall down that path again. She was not allowed to hang around people who partied or drink or did any types of substances. She had a nutritionist that was on board with her that controlled what she ate, what time she ate, what she couldn't do. She had to work out regularly, and she was supposed to showcase this and how it was working for her at the time in the documentary that got canceled before the overdose happened. And I know it sounds like a good idea to have all these people and all of this to be in place so that you don't slip up, but it actually just felt confined, and it made her even more controlled to where she couldn't even think about what she really wanted. She was at a state to where she would even feel bad for eating a cookie or feel bad for doing little small things and little hiccups. It's because you have to think that she's always been in the public eye. And since she's always had this battle with substances and mental health, she's been an advocate for that. I mean, ever since 2011 and 2012, when the Unbroken era came out, she's always been this spokesperson about, getting better and eating better and taking that control over your life to where you don't have to use substances and that you don't have to hurt yourself. But internally, it just became even more pressured. I remember in one interview, she felt bad for meeting people that were her age. At the time, they were like 15, 16, and these are her fans. And she felt so much pressure of letting them down, of her slipping up again. She also felt the pressure of her family because she had to be this picture perfect person for them and be strong for them as well. She would always tell them that she's fine and that she's okay when really she wasn't at all. So all of this led her to having a party one night, a normal party, and she ended up seeing her drug dealer that day, and it kind of just fell from there, and that's how she had her overdose. So in the process of making this album, she was also recovering from the overdose and getting back up on her feet and learning how to start all over again. She wanted this album to be a journey into where she tells her story in a narrative, and so she can have control of that, and that way she can share it with all of us. So in no way is this album about numbers or trying to get number one hits or anything. Collectively, these songs are personal and help to inspire us, but also tell her story. Originally, it was just going to be titled The Art of Starting Over, but she eventually decided to add Dancing with the Devil to highlight the trauma before finally reaching happiness as she is now. That's why the intro starts before the song Starting Over, because she wanted to showcase the songs Anyone, Dancing with the Devil, and I See You to showcase what happened before the journey began. So this album goes into her journey quite in depth and in detail. She collaborated with Ariana Grande, Sweetie, Noah Cyrus, and Sam Fisher. Now, one of the most standout tracks from this song and collaboration was actually with Ariana Grande with I Met Him Last Night, and this song is really, really good. The collaboration with Ariana came about when Demi was looking for new management at the time. Demi explained how supportive that Ariana was and wanted to make sure that she was in the best hands as possible, which was wrong. When Demi started working on her album and had already written Dancing with the Devil, she played it for Ariana, who was so inspired by the song that she wrote Met Him Last Night for Demi. It was supposed to be a solo song that Ariana just pitched to Demi, but Demi convinced her to stay on the track since her vocals were already on the demo. And it came together very, very beautifully. Sometimes it's even hard to distinguish who's singing on what parts at times of the song. Demi has also described how this album has been the most genuine and personal to her. She stated that this was one of the first albums that she truly felt happy about during its time of release. She would usually have to listen to a song for months at a time in order to tweak the sound and make sure that she had the right ad-libs and everything, so that way it can come all together during its release. But in this case, she didn't feel the need to do so. The process actually came quite effortlessly for her. All of the songs have a very deep connection to her, which is why it expresses her and her journey so well. So personal that if you have any questions about her sexuality, you can listen to The Kind of Lover That I Am. If you have any questions about her recovery right now, you can listen to California Sober. And if you have any questions about why she's not dating, you can just listen to My Girlfriends and My Boyfriends. And this is just a short list of all of the songs that connect to her so well. And this kind of reminds me of Ariana Grande in her Thank You Next era. All of the songs on Thank You Next described her journey that Ariana was going through at the time, with her call off to engagement to Pete, and also dealing with the death of Mac Miller. It showed the journey and showcased how she was feeling at that time through each song. And Demi kind of does the same thing with this album. It discusses her overdose and her usage and her mental state at the time. It now shows us how she's recovering and starting over, and how her life and her journey is today. And in no way am I trying to compare the two or trying to diminish who has been through more or whose tragic is more or who has been through worse stuff, because I love both of them. And I believe that they both have gone through different points and eras of their life into where music has healed them. I believe that both of their albums are a healing album in which was needed in order for them to move on in their lives. Thank You Next was at a low point for Ariana, going through a lot of things, and I believe that this was a really low point for Demi. Both have just been through tragic points in their lives, and I believe that this album has set free Demi, just as Thank You Next, kind of set free Ariana. Up until this moment in Demi's life, she has truly never felt happiness until now. And that's because she thought she was happy by what other people told her happiness was and how to live in order to be happy. And I think this brings inspiration to all of us, and Demi has taught something that we all can take from this. Even if you're not dealing with mental health issues or substance abuse, just being an everyday human and going through what we're going through now, especially with COVID and everything, it teaches a lesson for us to not hold everything in and not to bottle everything inside. But it's our vulnerability that will show us the way, and it actually makes us stronger to showcase our vulnerability. No matter if you're having a bad day, stress, or if you're dealing with substance abuse or mental health or any type of disorders, it's okay not to be okay, but not bottle up inside to where it hurts you. It's okay to tell someone and ask someone for help, or even just write it out, you know? So this album was very impactful for me, and I hope it is too. If you haven't listened to the album, give it a listen. It's worth the while, trust me. And I just want to know what you guys think about the album. What do you guys think about the era? Did you guys watch all parts of the documentary? And also, how do y'all feel about the collaboration with Ariana? And I mean, there's also other good collaborations on here too. Like, I love that song Easy. But just let me know what you guys think about it. I really want to hear your comments below. And let me know if there's any other type of artists that you guys are interested in that I should talk about, or any other topics. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, bye. Bye, y'all.